When the heart doesn't sleep, cardiovascular roots of restlessness. Not all sleep problems start in the mind or bladder. Some begin in the chest, in the quiet work of a heart that never stops. And for many older adults, that work begins to shift in subtle, silent ways that ripple into the night. You may not feel any pain, no tightness, no racing pulse. But still, sleep becomes shallow. Wake-ups grow more frequent. And each morning brings a feeling that the body ran a marathon in the dark. This is where the cardiovascular system often makes its presence known, not with drama, but with whispers. Conditions like high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, or congestive heart failure can all affect sleep. When blood doesn't circulate efficiently, when the heart's rhythm stutters or the lungs struggle for breath, the body senses imbalance. And even if you're unaware of what's happening, your brain responds by waking you up. For example, one under-recognized cause of disturbed sleep is nocturnal hypertension, blood pressure that spikes at night. It doesn't cause obvious symptoms, but it can lead to fragmented rest, vivid dreams, or even early morning headaches. Many people discover it only after long periods of unexplained exhaustion. And then there's the fluid. In heart failure, fluid can build up in the lungs or legs. At night, when lying flat, this fluid redistributes. It can press on the lungs, making breathing shallow and triggering sudden nighttime awakenings. Some people even need to sleep with their heads elevated or use multiple pillows, not realizing this isn't just a comfort preference, but a physiological need. So how do you respond? At Silver Health Talk, we recommend starting with your pulse. Learn what it feels like, count your heartbeats, track your blood pressure at different times of day, especially before bed. If you wake up with a pounding chest, racing heartbeat, or unexplained breathlessness, it's not just one of those things. It's a call to investigate further. And if you're already managing the breathless night, understanding sleep apnea after 60, sometimes the quietest danger is the one that hides between breaths. Sleep apnea is one of the most underdiagnosed and misunderstood sleep disorders, especially in older adults, yet it affects millions. And for many, it's the invisible hand pulling them from deep sleep, over and over again, without warning. So, what is it really? Sleep apnea occurs when your breathing repeatedly stops and starts during the night. These pauses may last just a few seconds, but they add up. Oxygen dips, the brain panics, and the body wakes, sometimes with a jolt, sometimes subtly, but always with disruption. You might not even notice it happening. In fact, many people with sleep apnea don't remember waking at all. They just know they feel exhausted, or their partner mentions loud snoring, gasping, or restlessness, or they wake with dry mouth and a pounding head. And after 60, the risk rises sharply. Why? Because aging brings changes to the airway. Muscles in the throat weaken, the tongue relaxes more, tissues collapse more easily during sleep. Add in a bit of weight gain, and the airway becomes even more narrow. The result? Breathing becomes a struggle, just when the body needs it most. But here's what we want you to understand at Silver Health Talk. Sleep apnea is not just about snoring. It's about oxygen. When your body is starved of oxygen over and over again, it takes a toll on memory, on mood, on heart health, on blood pressure, even on blood sugar. This condition doesn't just make you tired, it makes you vulnerable. The good news? It's highly treatable. Start with awareness. If you or your partner notice snoring, gasping, or excessive sleepiness during the day, ask your doctor about a sleep study. These tests are painless and often done at home. They measure your breathing patterns, oxygen levels, and how many times your sleep is disrupted. If diagnosed, the most common treatment is SPAP, a device that gently keeps your airway open using pressurized air. It may take time to adjust, but for many, it's life-changing. Others find relief through weight loss, sleeping on their side, or dental devices that hold the jaw forward. Breathing should never be a struggle, especially not in your sleep. In our next part, we'll shift from the body to the mind and examine how anxiety, grief, and silent emotional weight often play a hidden role in nighttime awakenings for adults in their later years. When the mind won't let go emotional weight in the night, you turn off the light. You lie still. But your thoughts keep moving, flickering like candle flames in the dark. They drift to the past, the things you should have said, the people you've lost, the worries about what's ahead. This, too, and why sleep slips away. As we grow older, our emotional landscape deepens. We carry more memories, more responsibilities, and often, more grief. We've lived through more joy, but also more loss. And for many, night becomes the only time those emotions rise to the surface. During the day, they're buried under errands, conversations, distractions. But in the stillness of the night, the mind opens the drawer. And what we find inside can keep us awake, not with loud panic, but with quiet ache. This kind of wakefulness is not always anxiety in the clinical sense. Sometimes it's unprocessed change, the loss of a spouse, the move away from a long-time home, the retirement that left more questions than freedom, or the distant feeling of irrelevance in a world moving too fast. And all of it touches the nervous system. You may feel fine during the day, but if your body tenses before bed, if your breathing shortens, if you wake in the early hours with a racing mind, your system may be carrying emotional signals it doesn't know how to release. At Silver Health Talk, we believe sleep is not just a biological process, it's an emotional one. And that healing your nights sometimes means listening to your heart more than your habits. So where do you begin? Start with gentle evening rituals that tell the mind it's safe. Journaling for 10 quiet minutes before bed. Writing down the thoughts that rise, without judging them. Listening to slow, steady music. Not to drown things out, but to soothe them forward. Try breathing deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and allow your exhale to last longer than your inhale. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural calming switch. It tells the heart, you can slow down now, you're not in danger. For some, talking with a counselor or joining a support group for older adults becomes the turning point. Not because pain goes away, but because it has somewhere to go, somewhere to rest. Because sleep is trust. Trust that the body is safe, that the mind can release, that the world will still be there in the morning. And when that trust is rebuilt, slowly, steadily, the night stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a soft place again. In our next part, we'll talk about medications, both helpful and harmful, and how many over-the-counter or prescribed treatments may be quietly interfering with your ability to sleep.